Welcome to Becoming a Writer podcast, where writing inspiration is served fresh in 20 minutes or less every fourth Saturday. I am Rubina Gauri Gomes, and together we'll learn how to explore, experiment with, and express our writer selves. If this speaks to your writing journey, give the podcast a listen. If you enjoy it, I'd love for you to leave a review so others can find it too. Don't forget to share your suggestions or questions through the form in the show notes, and let's grow this community together. You can find more conversations like this and download your free Writer's Mental Toolbox PDF at rubinagomes.substack.com. Now grab a cup of your favorite drink and let's have a quick chat. Hello my writer friends, Rubina here, and welcome to our conversation number 46. Today's conversation is going to be different. I wanted to record our regular conversation, but I have recently gone through surgery for my endometriosis. So obviously I am not in the physical, mental or emotional state to speak sensibly. So instead of blabbering, I am sharing with you an excerpt of my non-fiction book for writers. It's called Soul Writer versus Social Writer, and it was published in October 2023. What you will hear is the introduction and part 1 of the book. If you like what you hear, the link to the complete ebook will be mentioned in the show notes. I also have the complete audiobook available for free on my Substack and YouTube pages. I'll share the link to that audiobook as well in the show notes. I hope you like it. Introduction. One of the many questions that haunted me for the first 6 years of my writing journey was, what kind of a writer am I? It took its sweet little time, but eventually I came to the following conclusion. There are two kinds of writers present in the world and in you. One is a soul writer, the second is a social writer. I was going through a creative renaissance in October 2022 when I shared my thoughts through an essay in my online newsletter/publication. It was an essay where I didn't have any outline or a call to action. The usual jazz content creators suggest you put. I just had this ache in my heart and wanted to give words to it. So I typed that essay for as long as my heart wanted to speak and published it without a second thought. I didn't expect anyone to relate to or understand what I was saying in that essay. Writing it was actually my way of understanding who I was as a writer. I was trying to find out why I wasn't feeling fulfilled in the job of my dreams. Not only did I find out where I was going wrong in my writing journey, but I also found others felt the same. With 1.2k views and counting, that essay turned into one of my most engaged essays. This made me realize that I should dive deeper into this topic, for my sake and yours, my writer friends. That led to a series of essays and now to this fully fledged book that you hold in your hands. In this book, you will find the two types of writers in us and why it is important to know where you stand. Who is a soul writer? Why is it important to be a soul writer? How to know, become, and stay a soul writer? Who is a social writer? Why it is important to be a social writer? How to know, become, and stay a social writer? Pros and cons, differences and similarities between the both. Examples of writers pulling this balance off effortlessly and successfully, finding your sweet spot between the two and keeping a balance between them. This is not an advice book or get down to action book for writers. As Austin Kleon says in Steal Like an Artist, all advice is autobiographical. I am sharing the lessons I have learnt that I wished someone had told me when I was younger and new to this writing journey. It would have saved me a lot of trouble. Now, in sharing this book, I am trying to save you some trouble. I just want to acquaint you to a different perspective to your writer self. Understanding my true writer nature and personality by understanding the soul writer and social writer in me helped me become friends and colleagues with the writer side of me. The physical proof that we are now enjoying a beautiful partnership is this book. This book would not have been made if I hadn't learnt and accepted who I am as a writer and let nothing else influence it. My hope is that you too become friends with your writer self and together enjoy a satisfying, fulfilling, and fun writing life. Part 1. Which kind of writer are you? A soul writer or a social writer? There are plotters and pantsers, outliners and discovery writers. There are poets, playwrights, screenwriters, novelists, essayists, comic writers, memoirists, teachers, and coaches. Now I would like to introduce you to two other writers, the soul writer and the social writer. While the others are terms for the sea of readers to understand what kind of writer you are, the last two are for you to help you understand which kind of writer you are. I found these two kinds of writers during the 6 years I spent learning and understanding who I am as a writer. I knew for my readers and the world, I wanted to be a crime fiction novelist. But that answer wasn't enough for my writer soul. What kind of a writer was I for myself? This was more of a metaphysical approach to seeing my life as a writer. And I am not surprised it took me 6 years to keep the labels of society aside and figure out for myself who am I. To let yourself tell you who you are rather than accept whatever the outside world tells you is a task that takes time and patience. And thank God I stuck with it long enough to reach my answer. Now that I know which of the two writers I am and to how much degree, I have been smoothly gliding through my writing sessions and enjoying every bit of it. I am also being reciprocated with love and attention from my readers, which gives me proof that what I am doing is working. So, who is a soul writer and who is a social writer? A soul writer is a writer who writes as a calling from their soul. A social writer is a writer who writes in service of others. In the following chapters, I'll explain in detail and depth what each of them mean and help you figure out which one you are. But before we do that, we need to understand why it is important to figure out this aspect of your writer's soul. Why is this important? Imagine a child who loves painting but is forced to play basketball. Imagine a person who is an amazing actor but is stuck behind a laptop 24/7. Imagine a dog who is born to love and cuddle and do zoomies but is caged in a crate all her life. Those are some sad images to imagine, right? Similarly, if you are born with a nature and personality which requires you to be one type but are forced to behave in the opposite manner, you will be sad. You won't be living life, you won't be enjoying it, and you definitely won't be fulfilling your purpose and destiny. Now imagine the child is supported to paint, the person is giving auditions, and the dog is going crazy with zoomies. I can see you imagining and smiling. But how does this apply to soul writer and social writer? Understanding the soul writer and social writer in you will help you understand your writer nature and personality. Once you learn that, you can then shift your life that aligns with it and therefore create an environment within you and outside you that supports you to thrive as a writer. Once you know who you are as a writer, it makes it easier to stick with it and not deviate too far away from it. And once you start living from that space of your true writer nature and personality, you'll start having a satisfying, fulfilling, and fun writing life. I hope the excerpt piqued your interest. Once again, the link to the ebook and the free audiobook is in the show notes.
Next time we meet, I promise we'll be back to our regular programming. Well, that's it for today. Until next time, keep writing, my friend.
Thank you for catching up with me today. I hope you found some inspiration to help you grow a deeper relationship with your writer self. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and drop a review. You can also share any suggestions or questions with me through the form in the show notes. You can find more conversations like this and download your free Writer's Mental Toolbox PDF at rubinagomes.substack.com. That's a wrap for now. See you later.